Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies really got to put it on them in Game 3 on Saturday night as that series shifted to San Francisco. The Warriors beat Memphis by 30, 142 to 112. Just controlled the second half of that basketball game. Ja Morant ended up leaving that bad boy a couple minutes early after what Ja believes to be a dirty play from Jordan Poole. As you see Poole kind of grab at the knee of Morant. Ja tweeted immediately after the game, quote, broke the code, which was in reference to Steve Kerr saying Dylan Brooks broke the code in Game 2 with the flagrant 2 foul on Gary Payton II that cost Gary Payton the remainder, most likely, of his postseason as he is in a contract year. Dude's been in the G League, worked his way up, and finally got a shot, and now he's not going to be able to be on the biggest of stages, most likely, to complete this season. So Ja did delete this tweet saying Jordan Poole broke the code. And I had been holding on to these comments about Ja Morant for quite some time. Keep in mind, I am from Memphis. Memphis ain't that big. I have aspirations to do some work with Ja Morant in the future because I really love his game. I think he's an incredible basketball player. But I got to be real with y'all. He's young and immature. He's childish. You know, anytime I see somebody, I'm 28, right? So I'm a few years older than Ja Morant, but still young enough. I still grew up in social media, right? Now, I'm of the age where I was able to live in a world without social media as a kid. And I also seen my life transform into a world where you can't live without it, you know, as I went through my high school and college years and all that. So I was literally like dead in between social media really popping off. Everybody from like my year, if you graduated high school around 2012-ish, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Ja Morant is 5 to 6 years younger than me. His whole life has been on the internet. I'm not saying him specifically, but his era's life has been on the internet. And I bring that up for a reason. A lot of the younger generation, when stuff goes wrong, they go to the internet. Like when something happens in their life, they look for validation from the internet. When things go right, wrong, whatever, they go to the internet. And I do think it's dangerous. I really do. I think it's childish. Like, you cannot get your validation in this cruel world. This world can be very cruel. I don't care how much money you make from the internet. I have been a content creator. Obviously, I'm not playing basketball in front of millions of people, but let's not downplay what I've done my last 5-6 years of my life. I've been a content creator that's done millions upon millions of views a month. When I first started, I used to try to get my validation from the internet. And it would hurt me when the comments were negative to me. It took me like the first year to figure that out and realize you got to kind of follow trends. If there are 1,000 people saying, yo, Ferro, I can't hear you, your audio sucks, maybe I should change my audio. But there are a few people here that says, yo, I don't like this audio, when it's really the fact that they got some old headphones. Or if they say, yo, I don't like the way you give content, if there's a few people saying it, you got to kind of just push that to the side and forget about that noise. Ja Morant, you play basketball in front of millions of people. The NBA is a global sport. They're literally doing huge ratings, some of the best ratings in years. The world is literally watching you play basketball. I don't care if there are 1,000 people, 10,000 people tweeting at you or whatever. You can't respond to everybody, bro. Like, you can't. That doesn't represent the masses. It doesn't. It does not. Like, when there were 1,000 people commenting at me, I wasn't doing billions of views. So 1,000 people could have easily at some point in time represented the masses. For Ja, the NBA is such a global sport. When people are talking about you, even if it feels like the whole world is against you on Twitter, no, it's not the whole world, because the whole world ain't on Twitter. There are a lot of Memphis Grizzlies fans that are just proud at you for going and giving it your all night in, night out. I'm not saying you can't ever get better, you can't take criticism in, but please don't let that criticism come solely from the internet. Please have you a team, a group of guys, a group of people that you trust, that keep it real with you for good or for bad, that don't let you get too high, but don't let you get too low. Because Lord have mercy, the internet is undefeated. And when I see Ja Morant tweet out, broke the code, he doesn't realize, like, these media outlets, basketball, look, I've worked in music for years. I've also worked in basketball for a couple years. Sports blog sites are the worst. They pick up on everything. And ESPN on down. I mean, from the top of the top to on down to the typical sites, the Legion Hoops, all these sites on the Hoop Central. They pick up on everything. They're literally got bots following athletes' every move, especially on the NBA level. You're not getting anything past them. So when you tweet something out after a game when you're frustrated, your team lost, y'all didn't play well in the second half, and you're putting something on somebody's resume, you're saying something about their character, saying Jordan Poole broke the code. Those are serious allegations, but they don't feel that serious when you're doing it into this phone. But you're saying something real, something that you probably wouldn't say if you were at the podium. You probably wouldn't have said that in your post-game interview. So this phone makes us feel more comfortable. It adds an extra layer of protection. It's the internet. But you can get in a lot of trouble with this bad boy. And I think Ja Morant is going to have to learn the hard way. You can't get caught partying in the playoffs. You can't get caught in the club in San Francisco in the playoffs. You can't keep getting caught at Life Lounge in Memphis in the playoffs. Like, it's not going – because when you play bad, they're going to call you out about it. When you play good, it doesn't matter. Like, you ain't the first NBA athlete to party in the playoffs. Go talk to Shaquille O'Neal and other great athletes. Shaq was dropping 30 and 25 and then going out and partying the night before and night after. Michael Jordan was doing that. I'm not comparing Ja to Shaq or Michael Jordan, two of the game's greatest ever, but y'all get the premise here. Great athletes go out and party nights before and nights after. The good ones know how to hide that stuff. That way, if they do play bad, you will never find out that they partied the night before or the night after. Like, that's a real thing. Like, we're human, man. I'm not telling y'all something y'all don't know. Human people party, especially people with millions of dollars, which I believe Ja Morant to have. He's going to have to grow up because right now, what Memphis is going to run into is the Russell Westbrook thing in Oklahoma City. Remember when Russ would do something stupid or have an awful game, the Thunder, their PR team, would shut down any reporter's question towards Russ. Like, if you were about to ask Russ a questionable question, something that would piss Russ off, even if it was fair to you or to many, the Thunder PR would many times shut it down. So when Russ got out to bigger markets like Houston and LA, and when they asked him questions, and he'd be like, wait, why are you asking me that? Can he ask me that? He was confused because he never had real pushback because most of his career was played in Oklahoma City. Memphis is going to protect Ja like that too. Like, if he goes out, parties, and has a bad game, they're going to protect him because the Grizzlies have never had a Ja Morant. The Thunder never had a Russell Westbrook. They're going to protect him. The problem with that is if organizations overprotect their athletes, oftentimes they're really not letting athletes correct the problem and grow up. That's my concern with Ja. I love him. I want to work with him. I would love to get him in for a podcast when I get my NBA podcast going this summer. He's going to have to grow up, man. I would tell him that if I was around him. I say that respectfully to Ja, T, that whole family are doing a phenomenal job. He's got to grow up. You cannot go on social media and tweet he broke the code. And I didn't even think anything was wrong with the foul that Jordan. He touched his knee. If your knee going to go out like that, your knee was going to go out anyway. Like, blame the hookah. Like, blame something else. Don't blame Jordan Poole for literally your knee one little time. You cannot blame you aggravating an injury and keeping you out of game 4 on Jordan Poole literally just touching your knee. Your knee should be stronger than that. I've seen, Ja, you jump out of the gym. You're not finna tell me them same knees that can bounce from here to the ceiling are now affected by a little simple nudge of I got my mouse. He grabbed it like that. Like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. The moment Ja Morant grows up, I think it's when the Memphis Grizzlies become serious contenders for the NBA championship. Not a moment sooner. He's a phenomenal talent, but he's going to have to grow up on the court too. Like, develop the floater a little more, stop doing those high-profile dunks every chance you get. But he's fine. He's young. He's got a lot of success being thrown at him. He was an underrated kid coming out, and all this is being thrown at him. Literally, the keys of the franchise being thrown at him. I believe the kid will learn. I really do believe that. It takes time. Unfortunately, it's happening in front of millions of people to watch, which is the NBA playoffs.